I don't think the window is closing for the 49ers. I don't. George Kittle's still there. Deebo Samuel is still there. They brought in another wide receiver that is pretty damn good. Brock Purdy just needs to be competent. This defense is still elite. They still have Nick Bosa there. Their secondary is very good. I mean, for anybody to sit here and say that the window is closing, it's ridiculous. As long as Kyle Shanahan is there, and I'm not a Kyle Shanahan fan, but as long as Kyle Shanahan is there and John Lynch is there, this organization is going to be amongst the NFC's elite. So for them to come out and say that the window is closing, that's ridiculous. That's one. Number two, when you speak about the fact that Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams are not getting what they want. First of all, Trent Williams signed a contract a couple of years ago. He was one of the highest paid tackles in all of the NFL. Now that there's other tackles getting more money than he is, he's emotional and he feels because he's 38 years old, he deserves more. I think Trent Williams is Trent Williams because his personality is raw and he's going to go out there and he's going to say or do whatever he wants. And I still believe Trent Williams without a contract will show up one way or another this season. There's no way he's going to sit out and he's going to decide, hey, you know what, I'm not playing this year if I don't get an extension. I believe Trent Williams is going to break the barrier before Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk is either going to get traded in the first 3 weeks of the season or they're going to sign him. Now, I still think the 49ers are going to find a way to negotiate a deal where they're going to be able to sign him. But if they don't, he's going to be gone. I could see him going to Pittsburgh. That's a team that's still after him. I could see the Patriots. If Drake May is as gifted as I believe he could be, and he shows the first 2 weeks that he can get the ball down the field and everything, why wouldn't Brandon Aiyuk be a good fit over there with Drake May? So there's a lot to think about when you speak about the fact that when you're looking at where they are last year and what they are this year, they're different. Eric Armstead was a big defensive lineman. He's a great part of their defense last year. He was getting old. I mean, how old is Eric Armstead? He's got to be about 29, 30 years old. He's going to be at the tail end, maybe 2 years left at an elite level. They have done this many, many times, and the 49ers have found pieces to fill in those sectors of their defense, and they haven't missed a beat. This is still an elite defense. I'll be very surprised if they're not a top 5, top 6 defense in the NFL. They're going to be. So for anybody to think that this window is closing, it's ridiculous. As far as Mike Garofalo saying that Aiyuk is going to hold out, he is going to hold. He's going to hold out as long as he possibly can. And I think that the 49ers are going to have to make a decision. If they want him, they're going to have to pay him. If they don't, they're going to have to move him and get as much as they possibly can back for him. I thought that the best time to move them was during the preseason because there are a lot of teams looking for a number one guy, and Brandon Aiyuk would have been the best option to move because you probably would have got a second and a third, or maybe even if a team's reaching a first for Brandon Aiyuk. And to wait this long, if they do move him early in the season because they can't sign him, you're not going to get as much back for him because you know those teams are going to know you can't sign him, and his worth for what he is and what type of player he is going to go down because they're trying to move him and trying to get rid of him. So I just think that right now the 49ers put themselves in a really bad situation. That doesn't mean their window is closing. I think it's emotionally drained. Why are they emotionally drained? What makes them emotionally drained? Because they lost against the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? How many teams have lost against Patrick Mahomes? Patrick Mahomes has already won 3 Super Bowls. He's won 3 of them. Well, how drained are you going to be? This guy is one of the greatest quarterbacks already ever. To sit here and say that it makes them drained? No, it doesn't. They lost against the one team that could beat them. If anything, that's going to give them more emotion to go out there and put up better numbers and put up the numbers that they believe they could put up all season long and go out there and try to play Kansas City in the Super Bowl to knock them off. I think that gives them more drive. The fact that they lost against Kansas City to 2 Super Bowls, back-to-back Super Bowls, not back-to-back year at year, but you know what? Yeah. Both times that they've met Kansas City, they've lost against them, and by very little margins. I think that the 49ers believe that they're better than the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, obviously, their quarterback is not better than arguably the greatest quarterback in the league right now, but all around defense, I think the 49ers are better. The weapons that the 49ers have are much better than the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, it's just a quarterback play. And maybe the coaching. Andy Reid is a better coach than Kyle Shanahan, but it took Andy Reid a long time to get where he is today. Remember on the Eagles, he could never get over the hump. He couldn't beat Bill Belichick, could never get over the hump. Now he has Patrick Mahomes. It's a different ball game. It's a different game. So again, you have to look at, how long it took him to get over that hump. And now Andy Reid can't lose. He can't lose. He's always winning. I mean, he's eating a lot of hamburgers and enjoying himself at Wendy's and McDonald's and Burger King with all the commercials. And hopefully he doesn't have a heart attack. But all in all, I mean, Andy Reid, there's nothing but winning with Andy Reid now in the last, 7-8 years.